but you were recognizing the fact that they were trying to compel people to say he was the greatest. Michael Jordan didn't say that about himself. Kobe Bryant didn't say that about himself. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar didn't say that about himself. Bill Russell didn't say that about himself. Tim Duncan didn't say that about himself. Nobody said that. Nobody. But
Stephen A., when your guy was 20, he was living in a dorm driving a moped. My guy was hitting jumpers against Sacramento and Boston.
Here we go again. Michael Jordan versus LeBron James. It's the most talked about debate in sports, but it's also the most important. Despite all the noise, the stats, and the highlight reels, there's only one man who stands alone at the top. Stephen A. Smith has had enough of the excuses and the desperate attempts from LeBron's supporters to create a legacy that simply doesn't match up. Jordan isn't just the greatest basketball player of all time, he's the ultimate standard of excellence. Every time LeBron breaks a record or scores 40 points, people flood social media screaming, "GOAT." But Stephen A. is here to remind everyone, Jordan already did that, and he did it better, faster, and without needing anyone's approval. This breakdown features powerful quotes from Stephen A. Smith that tear apart the LeBron GOAT narrative piece by piece. Each statement is a truth bomb that destroys the myth that LeBron ever came close to what Jordan built. If you're tired of recycled comparisons and want facts over hype, keep reading. And make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to NBA Showdown because Michael Jordan doesn't need your approval. He already owns basketball history. Stephen A. Smith starts with two facts that should end the LeBron GOAT debate immediately. Michael Jordan was the first 40-year-old in NBA history to score 40 points in a game. That's not just about putting up numbers, that's about beating Father Time and proving that greatness never dies when it's in your DNA. Meanwhile, LeBron James, in his 22nd season, recently had his 78th career 40-point game. That sounds impressive until you realize he's done it over such a long stretch that it becomes more about longevity than dominance. Smith's brilliance is in the contrast. Jordan did more in fewer seasons. He didn't need 2 decades to prove he was the best. LeBron has needed this long just to stay in the conversation, and the numbers still fall short. Jordan's greatness wasn't a slow burn, it was a meteor that scorched the league. LeBron can have 140 40-point games, but when one man makes history at age 40 while the other does it in year 22 without catching the legend he's been chasing, the debate ends right there.
Jordan was the first 40-year-old to drop 40. That's number one. Number two, LeBron James is in his 22nd season. That was the 78th time in his career he has scored over 40.
Stephen A. Smith drops the most devastating stat of all. Michael Jordan played 7 fewer seasons than LeBron James and still recorded 173 games with 40 or more points. Let that sink in. Jordan, in just 15 seasons, 2 of which he was coming back from retirement, produced a staggering level of dominance. LeBron, with all his advantages, modern sports science, and extended prime, still trails in 40-point performances. What does that tell you? LeBron has had more time to catch up and still hasn't. Despite having more minutes, more possessions, and more years, he couldn't generate the same consistent offensive destruction that Jordan delivered. Stephen A.'s point is crystal clear. The numbers don't lie. Jordan did more in less time, and he did it when defenses were tougher, hand-checking was legal, and fouls actually meant something. People act like LeBron's longevity is a weapon. It's not. It's a necessity. He needed more years just to be in the conversation, and even then, he falls short.
How many 40-point games did Michael Jordan have? 173. You see, you can keep talking.
Stephen A. turns his attention to one of the most embarrassing truths about LeBron's career. He spent his first 8 years in the league learning how to win. Jordan didn't need a learning curve. He came into the league like a storm and turned a losing Chicago franchise into a dynasty. LeBron had to leave Cleveland, partner with 2 other All-Stars in Miami, and finally learn how to win championships. Smith's words aren't just about rings, they're about mentality. Jordan was great the moment he stepped on an NBA court. LeBron needed guidance, structure, and help before becoming what the media crowned him to be. Jordan forged his path through fire. LeBron built his through alliances. Greatness isn't just about how you finish, it's about how you begin. Jordan walked in with confidence nobody gave him. LeBron had to borrow his.
Thing that Michael Jordan wanted to do, he didn't spend the first 8 years shivering. You understand? He didn't have to go to South Beach to learn how to win. He got swept.
When Shannon Sharpe asked if Jordan could have done it, then why didn't he? It was a desperate attempt to defend LeBron. But here's the reality. Jordan didn't have to do everything LeBron is doing now because he already did more in less time. Jordan didn't need to chase longevity records to prove his greatness. He didn't need to team hop or stack superstars. Jordan's path was never about volume. It was about excellence and domination in a compact, ruthless time frame. The question isn't why Jordan didn't do what LeBron is doing now. The real question is, why does LeBron need to do all this just to stay in the conversation? Jordan won 10 scoring titles in 11 full seasons. He secured 6 championships with 6 finals MVPs and 0 losses in the finals. He didn't have to make headlines in year 21 because his work spoke for itself.
Every time LeBron does something, if Jordan wanted to, he would have done it.
I didn't say
if
that.
he's what you said he was, why did he do it?
Please. All I know.
Stephen A. Smith's response to Shannon Sharpe was short but devastating. LeBron James has had 7 more years in the league than Michael Jordan, and he's still chasing the crown. Think about that. Despite all the time, all the games, all the minutes, and all the resources, LeBron still hasn't achieved what Jordan did in a much shorter window. In sports, longevity is usually a bonus. But for LeBron, longevity has become a lifeline. It's the only thing keeping him in the GOAT conversation. Jordan didn't need to build a 20-year resume. He conquered the league in 15 seasons. And that's even misleading, because he spent 2 years away from basketball and another 2 in Washington when he was supposed to be retired. If LeBron were truly greater than Jordan, he would have already passed him in rings, in moments, in mythology. Instead, what we have is a man still trying to validate his career 2 decades in.
No, is your man got 7 more years in the league and still chasing Jordan. 7 more years. He don't even have more rings than Jordan.
Stephen A. Smith delivers a line that's as funny as it is cutting. LeBron's been in the league longer than I've been in college, and he still hasn't caught Jordan. This is when the tone shifts to outright mockery. What does it say when someone has had over 2 decades to surpass a man who did it all in barely over a decade and still can't be declared the definitive best? It means LeBron's longevity is a smokescreen, not a strength. Jordan's impact wasn't spread out. It hit like thunder and changed the game forever. Jordan's career was surgical, perfectly written. 6 finals trips, 6 championships, 6 finals MVPs, period. LeBron has had to shift storylines constantly. First it was about rings, then stats, then longevity, and now it's about redefining greatness just to include himself.
And listen, he's been in the league long enough that I was in college. And still, he ain't catch Jordan.
Still get him there.
Stephen A. Smith dropped a sarcasm-filled truth bomb. Everybody already recognizes LeBron as one of the top 3 players in history. What more do you want? A diaper and a bib? That line isn't just a jab, it's a shot at the constant coddling LeBron fans need to keep their king's legacy intact. Top 3 is elite territory, but LeBron fans want more. They want a crown that doesn't fit. Jordan didn't beg for respect. He didn't need the media to coddle him or fans to petition for his GOAT status. The world knew he was the best because he made it undeniable. LeBron's career feels like one long campaign. Every milestone comes with a press conference, a debate, manipulated stats trying to force the narrative. Jordan never asked. He showed.
Brady or Mahomes, because he only has 1 ring. They don't never discuss that in their sport.
Right. Stephen A. states that there's only one player in basketball history we compare to LeBron James, and it's Michael Jordan. That statement says everything. In a league filled with legends, Magic, Bird, Kareem, Kobe, Shaq, Duncan, nobody gets mentioned in the GOAT war besides LeBron and Jordan. And Jordan's name isn't dragged in because he's chasing, it's because he's being chased. Greatness doesn't seek comparisons, it becomes the reference point. Jordan is the reference point, always has been. The simple fact that Jordan remains the standard LeBron is judged against proves who sits on the throne. If LeBron had surpassed him, the conversation would be over. but it never has been.
James, there's only one player we look at and we say definitively we think was better, and that was Michael Jordan.
Stephen A. doesn't hold back when he says people in LeBron's camp are going out of their way to force others to call him the greatest. That's when it stops being about basketball and becomes propaganda. No other legend needed such a public campaign. Not Kobe, not Duncan, not Russell, not Kareem, and certainly not Jordan. If you're truly the greatest, you don't need to say it. You don't need others pushing the narrative. You just are. Jordan let his finals performances, regular season dominance, and killer instinct make the case. LeBron's path feels like a PR campaign. Every year, someone close to him drops a quote about surpassing Jordan. True greatness speaks for itself. LeBron's greatness always needs a microphone.
They were trying to compel people to say he was the greatest. Michael Jordan and
Stephen A. continues by highlighting how true legends never proclaim their greatness. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, with 6 MVPs and more championships than LeBron, never said it. Bill Russell, with 11 championships, never needed to sell himself. Tim Duncan, with 5 rings, never shouted for validation. But LeBron and his inner circle seem obsessed with telling the world he's the greatest, as if they're afraid history won't agree unless they say it first. When the truly great players don't claim greatness and the one chasing them constantly does, it becomes clear who's truly at the top.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar didn't say that about himself. Bill Russell didn't say that about himself. Tim Duncan didn't say that about himself. Nobody said that. Nobody but him.
Stephen A. sharpens the point when he compares LeBron to Steph Curry and Ray Allen. Steph, universally regarded as the greatest shooter ever, never once declared it himself. Ray Allen never proclaimed himself the best either. That's how greatness is supposed to be recognized, by others, not by yourself. But LeBron broke that code. His self-anointing screams desperation and self-doubt. When you have to declare something over and over, usually means people aren't buying it.
Camp. Steph Curry hasn't said that about himself. Steph Curry has never called himself the greatest shooter of all time. Ray Allen never called himself the greatest shooter of all time.
Steph Curry hasn't said that about himself. Steph Curry has never called himself the greatest shooter of all time. Ray Allen never called himself the greatest shooter of all time. Stephen A. ends by pointing out the glaring truth. LeBron James is the only person, along with his camp, who has ever declared himself the greatest of all time. If you have to say it, it probably isn't true. The very fact that LeBron calls himself the GOAT while every other all-time great never once did shows that the throne he wants so badly is not his to take.